Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Facebook Live. I am Stephanie. I'm the owner of Metalicious and the designer and the metalsmith, and I wear all the hats. Welcome to our Friday night, 7 o'clock chat. I am a little bit early, so I'm just going to hang out here and wait for people to hop on. So, hope you're all having a good week and that you got a lot accomplished. I felt like this week went by way too fast, and I didn't get anything done that I wanted to, but it's fine. We're here. It's Friday night. I'm excited for the weekend. And I'm excited for our chat tonight because I have the illustrator who was the artist behind the illustrations of the Goddess collection. So I'm just going to wait a little bit longer. And if you guys have questions or anything, you can always pop them in the comments. I have my employee, Katie, is going to be, hi, Katie. She's going to be answering people's questions or pinging me if there's something that somebody asks that she doesn't know the answer to, but she knows everything. She's amazing. So let's see, one more minute. Okay. So anyway, welcome to the live. This is very exciting, our first live. Okay, so Katie said she's probably going to be interacting as Katie as herself. So if you see a response from Katie, just know that she works at Metalicious. She is very familiar with the Goddess collection. She does all of our social media posts, and she's very knowledgeable. So she can answer your questions, or she can text me and let me know about any questions that you have. All right, it's 7 o'clock, so let's get started. Again, I wanted to welcome you. I'm Stephanie, the owner of Metalicious. Welcome to the Friday Night Live. Thank you for taking some time out from your weekend to spend with me and with Rebecca. We are very grateful to have you here. So that said, I talked about Katie moderating, so you know if you get a response from Katie that she works at Metalicious, don't be nervous. You can ask any questions in the comments. We love to see hearts, we love to see likes and thumbs up. So any reactions that you have, please put them in the comments. So as you know, I launched the Goddess collection right before the new year. It is one of my prize collections that I've designed so far. It was based on 7 goddesses, and I was really inspired during the pandemic to create joy that reflected the strength of women. Like, women are so courageous and so strong in the face of challenges. And I really wanted to create something and design something that recognizes that, because women are awesome. We are powerful. We are strong. We are amazing. And I wanted to create this out of love for you. So that was the inspiration for the Goddess collection, because we are all goddesses in our own way. So tonight, I wanted to bring on the illustrator behind the beautiful, exquisite illustrations of the goddesses, because for each goddess, we have 2 pieces. We have a ring and a pendant or a necklace. And we have this gorgeous work of art that goes along with it. And this was Rebecca's interpretation. I kind of gave her some background on who the goddesses were. So I wanted to bring her on to talk about her inspiration. So Rebecca Beatrice is a freelance artist and a designer. She's based out of New Jersey. She went to Pratt. She's a graduate of the Pratt Institute. And she is incredibly talented. She's an illustrator. She's a designer. She's a concept artist. She is a character creator. She's a storyteller. And I can't wait for you to meet her. So without further ado, let me bring on Rebecca. There she is.
Hi.
Welcome to our live. Thank you for coming and sharing your space with us and your.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. And I can see you're wearing one of the goddess pieces. Yeah. 2 other guys.
I got 2 of them. I got the Persephone pieces. Those were my favorite out of the collection. I mean, obviously, I spent a whole lot of time looking at them and grafting them into my designs. So, like, I mean, the collection is also really close to my heart now at this point, just because I've spent so much time with it.
Thank you. That's awesome. No, it looks great on you, and it is very much a reflection of you.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about how we decided to collaborate. I reached out to you. I saw your work online, and it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
And really inspired and fantastical and sci-fi with a hint of goth. So when I was thinking about, you know, who I wanted to come up with the illustrations, I searched online to try to find something that fit, and I couldn't. So I found you, and I hired you to come and illustrate all of the 7 goddesses for me, and you knocked it out of the park. You are so talented, and I'm so grateful for you. Hi, everybody. Look at all these comments. Michelle, Katie, Maggie, Barbara, Sarah, Lynette. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so I'm going to let you take it away.
All right.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the direction that we came up with when we were deciding to create these women that were going to represent this jewelry?
Yeah. I first coming into the project, like basically the first thing I do in any situation when I have a job is just ask as many questions as possible to sort of get on board with like what we're going for here, what the end goal is going to be. And I remember you sent me some like just Google search sample images in our emails when we started conversing over email. And you were sending me these like photorealistic images, basically what you'd see in like a World of Warcraft ad. And I'm like, okay, I appreciate what you're going for, but I don't think that really like matches the aesthetic of your brand. And also like I said, it's like a World of Warcraft ad. It doesn't have that sort of like understated elegance that I kind of get from Metalicious.
Yeah, thank you.
So I had in mind going for more of like an Art Nouveau, sort of like Alphonse Mucha kind of appearance to it. So that's sort of
that. Yes, I remember. Yeah. So the direction that I remember giving you was very loose. I was like,
yeah,
I want them to be strong, powerful women, but I don't want them to be skinny white women.
Yeah.
I want them to represent all of my clients, all of my customers. And actually, Casey, thank you so much. She said, it's so great to see the wide range of representation in the art. And that's also a credit to Rebecca. That was literally the only thing I said was like, this is what I want. I want it to represent all women, the beauty and the power and the courage of all women. So, what a perfect collaboration. Thank you, Barbara. It's good to see you. All right, so let's talk about the first one. Actually, it wasn't the first one that you did, but I'm going to talk about the queen, the queen of the goddesses, the queen of the heavens, the wife of Zeus. She is the goddess of birth and marriage and family. I'm going to show you, this is really exciting and special. I'm going to show you guys Rebecca's inspiration boards that she created based on these little descriptions that I was giving to her for each of the goddesses. It's really cool. So let me show you. This one is Hera, and then I'm going to let you, Rebecca, take it away.
All right. So just to be clear, are you going to be like moving through each one?
Yeah, I can move through each one, and then I can just, I don't know, pop on if you need me to. I'll stop in the middle.
All right, thanks.
I'm just winging it in case you haven't noticed. So, okay, take it away, Rebecca.
Okay, so starting with Hera, obviously she needs to be first because she's the queen of the gods. There were a couple of specific things I was going for. One, I wanted her to be like very regal and have her be like a little bit on the older side. One thing that I was trying to keep in mind when I was designing this series of illustrations was that I wanted to interpret these women across a variety of ages, because as Stephanie mentioned, a lot of what you see in terms of like idealized beauty is it's like all young, skinny, and white. And it's like, we needed to expand beyond that. So I was working with inspirations from actual people. I was working with sort of like images of celebrities and combining their features. And I was trying to strike this ground between like grounded, realistic interpretations of these women and also maintaining sort of like the powerful aura of a goddess. So, in terms of Hera, I ended up going with sort of combining the features of two of my favorite actresses, Kelly Marie Tran and Ali Wong. And I went for sort of like a full hourglass figure because she's supposed to be kind of like a motherly figure in Greek mythology, but she still has this sort of like haughty aura about her. So, what I have going on the left is I had my reference photos and my inspiration for sort of the energy that this goddess is going to be putting out. So basically, I have vibes, facial features, physical body, and then the jewelry that I'm working with. And then what I ended up with the sketch in the middle was sort of how I tie all of these things together. So she sort of has like the face shape of Kelly Marie Tran, but has sort of like the more mature features of Ali Wong. And she has this like full hourglass figure. She holds herself in this very like upright, sort of prim, almost smug posture because it's like she's the queen. She knows she is above you and you should respect her.
I love that.
I tied in a little bit of like sort of more modern royal aesthetic. I have like the little epaulets on her shoulders. I have the tiara. And in our email conversation, Stephanie mentioned peacocks being part of her motif. Mm-hmm. So I included the peacock feather pattern on the earrings. And in keeping with the Greek goddess inspiration of this collection, I wanted to dress all of these women in Grecian-inspired outfits. So I have Hera with her little flowy cape and these little like gauze. I'm not entirely sure what to call those, but the things she has draped from her arms.
Those are like my favorite. They're so fabulous.
Yeah. I dressed her in the kind of outfit where you'd see her like sweeping dramatically into a throne room. Basically, she was just like all drama, all luxury. Just like you see her and you think like, wow, I wish that were me.
And then on the right, on the right-hand side, I can see like you did the different poses too to kind of like show also not just her attitude and her demeanor and her character, she carries herself, but you also were doing it so that you could see the jewelry too, because each of the goddesses, you put my jewelry on the goddesses. So I love that.
I thought that was a very important part of this illustration collection because obviously we want to showcase both like sort of the stories behind the collection and also the jewelry itself. And I sort of tailored each of the goddesses' outfits to sort of be complementary to the piece that she is displaying. So yeah.
So let me show the final,
of course,
picture of Hera.
All right, she's loading in.
And that's her. Like it's beautiful and perfect. And look at the feathers and the peacocks, and even the backdrop that you did was just blew me away. It just blew me away. And all the comments are coming in. Beautiful.
Thank you all so much.
I love it. I love you. This collection is stunning. Like, thank you guys. But even I love how you accessorized even with her tiara and those silver bands on her arms and the part that's right in the center, kind of pulling her dress together. Like you just, it's just stunning. Just stunning. So thank you for that. That is like amazing to me. And then here is the finished jewelry.
Yeah.
So you can see the pendant that Hera is wearing, as well as that like dramatic, stunning ring. That is just like my favorite. Like you feel like an empress when you're wearing it. You feel like a queen. So, all right. That is Awesome. So who is next? Let me.
That's up to you. I'm not the host.
Okay. So the next one I wanted to talk about is Selene. So let me hide this. And
All right.
this. There she is. Gorgeous, gorgeous Selene.
Mm-hmm. All right. She's loading in. So I have this one. I'm looking at my vibe inspirations, and this one was a little bit different because I was trying to figure out like sort of how to structure like the organization of the cosmos into her outfit. Something that I definitely wanted to have in mind for like her background. I didn't bring up the discussion that we had about what I wanted, what to put in the backgrounds of each of these illustrations, which was another thing that was very loose and very much left up to interpretation. What I thought, given sort of the Art Nouveau direction I was going with these illustrations, was I was thinking we would sort of just have like these semi-abstract, semi-concrete like patterns going on in the background where it's not quite an actual setting, but also not quite just like shapes and colors. So in terms of Selene, I know I definitely wanted to bring in like sort of zodiac charts and like astronomical symbols.
Let me just say, I forgot to talk about what Selene is the goddess of. So
yes, of course.
Then it'll all make sense what Rebecca was describing. Yeah. Selene is the goddess of the moon. And her story is that she drives the moon across the sky in her chariot. So she is stunning. Okay.
Yes.
Back to you.
Yeah. So anyway, back to talking about Selene. So what I was going for with her was a couple more details about her was that she's very sort of regimented and very organized. So a lot of like intersecting lines were tied into her design. And also in terms of like deciding physically what she'd look like, I wanted her to look like very steady, like a solid person. Like if she's going to be like organizing the entire night sky, she needs to look like she's very capable of doing that. So going back to making more of my favorite celebrities, merging them into a different person, I was going with sort of a combination of Keke Palmer and Lizzo. So I found that one image all the way on the left with Keke Palmer with those braids that I really took inspiration for Selene's hair from. And given my decision to make her a Black woman, I really wanted the hair to be important because I know that's very, very important in Black culture. So I didn't want to just give her like a generic flowy hairstyle. I wanted this to be stylized. And also bringing in sort of like the body positive aspect of Lizzo's music, which I think it's like a very important message for people to hear. And we need to see that portrayed in art. So I tied all of that into her, and she's like this sort of like glowing, organized presence. And I
think I screamed when I saw Lizzo. Like I screamed with joy. I was like super excited. So let me show you guys what the final
all right.
The final design was. So there's Selene. You can see the symbols, the astrological symbols in the back. I mean, even the detail of those tiny, like, Keshi pearls that you did across, it's just outstanding.
Yeah.
Like, how her earrings look like the moon. It's just stunning. And of course, like, she's wearing her Metalicious jewelry.
Of course. The most important part.
It's part of the story. It's part of the story. It's magical. Kristen said it's magical. So
thank you.
Yeah, I love that. All right. So and again, like you can see that Art Nouveau influence in the background of Rebecca's sketch of Selene. It was just outstanding.
Very much to do with shape and line.
Casey says the details on her skirt look like they're made of starlight.
I
love that. That is amazing.
Oh, we're switching into another.
Oh,
well, I guess we could talk about Gaia next if you like.
Yes, we are talking about her. However, I wanted to show the board first.
Okay.
I think Gaia is one of my favorites. So
yeah. Well, thank you.
She's a redhead, just like me.
Yeah. So Gaia, do you want to introduce her? Tell us the lore.
Thank you.
Give us the lore.
Goddess. She is the goddess of the earth. She is the goddess of creation. She, everything came from Gaia. So she's like an earth mama. So she's like my soul goddess. I feel like each one of the goddesses is a part of me. Like there's a part of me, there's a part of you, there's a part of everybody. It just, they resonate with everybody. I think there's a piece of a goddess in each of these goddesses in each one of us. So anyway, so she's the goddess of the earth. She is the earth, the mother of creation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when we were working with Gaia, I brought up before that I wanted to go across like a variety of ages. So obviously she's like the earth and the mother goddess. So I thought I'd make her like an older sort of like upper middle-aged woman. So the two inspirations I was working with were Halle Berry and Carla Gugino, also specifically because this was shortly after my third time watching The Haunting of Hill House. And I really wanted to capture like that sort of very dedicated motherly energy. And the dress that I designed for her is actually kind of loosely inspired by Carla Gugino's nightgown when she's playing Olivia Crane. And I brought in the colors of the actual goddess pieces, as you can see. And I wanted to bring in sort of like the flowers over her shoulders and in her hair. And I also definitely wanted to like have a departure from, I looked into like, obviously I did like reference image searches for Gaia, and it's like the whole mother aspect was either like everyone was drawing her either pregnant or with gigantic boobs, and I wasn't into either of those things because like that feels like you weren't doing that just for symbolic reasons. It's weird now. But anyway, I figured I'd go with like a very sort of like nurturing looking like stockier older woman.
Kind of like me.
Or my mom.
Yes.
Looking like all of our moms. Yeah.
I loved it. And I loved The Haunting of Hill House, and Carla Gugino is like one of my favorite actresses. Mm-hmm. So let me show.
And also sort of bringing out that like you can still be beautiful in old age. Like beauty does not have a time limit here.
No, beauty is timeless. Yeah. I love that. Here we go. So
we're almost there. So yeah, what I ended up going with her like holding the flowers and having sort of this like tree of life motif coming from behind her. And sort of just, yeah, she's surrounded by life. Life springs from her.
Oh, even if it's woven through her hair. Oh my God, I just love her features, the features on her face. It's just, she is maternal. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And then I wanted to show the jewelry that she's wearing. This is what Gaia is wearing, a necklace with a peridot and a pink topaz. And they're just, the way I created them with lots of like leaves and plants and just very earthy. And I think, Rebecca, you completely, again, blew me away with each of these. I think actually when Rebecca would send me the final result, what was it that I would say?
Every time I sent you a new one, you'd be like, this one's my favorite. This one's my favorite. And I was like, I'm not even done with the project yet.
Every single time, because you did such an amazing job. even looking at them now and hearing your process again, it's like super exciting. Okay, so next up, thank you guys so much for all these comments. I'm glad you're enjoying. It's so fun for me and for Rebecca to kind of share as artists. It's fun to share our process with everybody. So next up is Athena. Athena is the goddess of war and wisdom. So Athena is the smartest of all the goddesses and the gods. She is strategic, and she's the woman that we always tap into. She's the goddess that we channel when we need to power through something, when we need to just to have strength in the face of fear. So, all right, tell us your inspiration, Rebecca.
All right, so going with all my vibes, face, body, jewelry. You were talking in your emails about how Athena's a little bit of a rebel, considering that like she's a goddess that hails from ancient Greece, which, if we know anything about history, kind of a very, very misogynistic society. So her being as sort of like independent and powerful as she is an act of rebellion in itself, but at the same time, it's pointed. You mentioned she's strategic. So I was thinking about like a little bit of my vibe inspiration for her was polystyrene from X-ray specs. So sort of bringing this like very powerful, outspoken energy, but also at the same time, a little bit of refinement in sort of like the way she dressed and the way she like presented herself. So it was for her facial inspiration was a combination of a Bollywood actress who I'd have to like go back and check my notes to remember what her name is. It's too small on the screen. And also Sophia Boutella. So, oh, there he is. Nadi Sunkil. I didn't have it. I didn't have it pronounced out loud. I just read it. But
you're doing fine. You got the flow. You've got the look. Yeah. You've got the power. Some of the comments are she looks fierce and she's the original Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that was actually one of my inspirations for sort of like her physicality was like Gal Gadot's arms from Wonder Woman, like having very like strong shoulders and muscular arms. And I was kind of leaning towards like sort of an inverted triangle shape a little bit. So I had like those two in my like body references. I have Naomi Campbell there.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. Fierce. Yeah. Amy says any woman who comes into the world by literally breaking a guy's mind is definitely a rebel. Yes. Yeah. He came out of Zeus's brain. He had a headache and his head broke open and Athena came out.
She's there.
So let's see. So here are the two side by side. Oh my gosh, they're just stunning.
Thank you. So in terms of her final design, like I definitely wanted her to be wearing an outfit that would bring out sort of the powerful shape of her shoulders and also like tie in a little bit of like ancient Greek armor. So I have the corset going on and I have the headdress going on, and she has her hair tied back, relating to her whole practicality thing. She's very active. And there was no way I was not going to draw her holding a spear. It was she had to be holding a spear.
Here is the necklace that I designed for Athena. It's just structure and strategy and power and beauty, but like definitely, structured. So
definitely structures her boldness, which is what I tried to do.
And then, so Amy says, I adore the background on this one. It's very Greek, like the columns on the side and the laurel leaves coming up from the side. And Rita says, I love them all. Yes, me too.
Oh, thank you.
Me too. I definitely love them all as well. So this is so much fun. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for inviting me again.
Okay, so the next one is going to be Aphrodite.
Oh, yes.
Sexy, sexy, gorgeous, delicious, curvaceous Aphrodite. So Aphrodite is the goddess of love. She is the goddess of beauty, and she was born from sea foam. So she protects sailors and she protects lovers. So let's take a look and see Aphrodite. Okay, this is a fun one. I loved the collaboration on this one, Rebecca. You did such a beautiful job.
Oh, thank you.
Top left.
Top left, both the birth of Venus for aesthetic inspiration and also Xena warrior princess interpretation of Venus.
So good. So good.
Personally, I think that Aphrodite is kind of one of like the least charitably interpreted Greek goddesses, just because it's very frequently done where people will just reduce her entirely to just sex and like depict her naked. So absolutely. I wanted to tie in a little bit of like playfulness and a little bit of tenderness with her. So while she is definitely like the most scantily clad of the goddesses and definitely has sort of like the most like come hither appearance to her, she also has like a little bit of like a softness to her features. She's just a little bit delicate, and also definitely bringing out like different body types. Why not have a plus size woman be just like the embodiment of beauty and desirability? I'm here for it.
And me too. Me too. Bring it on. You know, curves are beautiful. This is a natural woman. This is what a natural woman looks like. This is what we all look like. Just, you know, embodying our beauty. I love it. Sultry but strong. Oh, we have a question. Somebody wanted to know, and of course I can't see the question now. Oh, wait, here we go. The question is, do you illustrate digitally or on paper? That is a great question.
I do both. This particular project was done digitally just because it would be easier to deliver the final products to Stephanie, given like the fact that we undertook this project during the pandemic. And also it kind of provides a more accurate way of transferring the final product, because a big part with like traditional art is it requires like photographing it or scanning it, and then you have to like edit it digitally, and then like the transferred images appear different on like all different kinds of screens. So I figured it would just be easier if it went from one computer to another rather than jumping through all kinds of hoops. And also the fact that I was no longer on Pratt campus, so I no longer had access to like the scanning facilities. I didn't have like a high quality large format one I could work with. So
I don't know what any of that means. However,
I'm sorry.
You knocked it out of the park. And I think the question is probably about because the original sketches, they, you know, like on the left here of Aphrodite, for example, they look like you drew them with pencil. But then the final image is like a digital interpretation of that. Is that right, or am I making things up?
It probably has to do with just like the brushes that I was using. All of these were produced with Procreate for iPad. So going right from sketches into final product, it was all on
the left. You did digitally?
Mm-hmm. That was how I sort of, collaged all my inspiration pictures.
That is super cool. Oh, I thought, I mean, it looks like, oops, wrong way. It looks like pencil, like you did it with pencil or watercolor or something.
It does. It's sort of just like a
draw. Yeah. So anyway, it looks beautiful. Like it's very clear you have a talent for this. And then here is the Aphrodite jewelry that I had designed that she is wearing. And again, like I wanted this jewelry to be curvaceous and bold, but feminine. So there's a lot of swirls, a lot of details, and then the bubbles to kind of talk up, you know, to represent the sea foam from where she came. Also, I use that dotted texture in a lot of my jewelry and a lot of the swirls, but this is really special, really exquisite. The scroll work that is at the edges of the bezel, and then the beading. So I love it. It looks beautiful on Aphrodite. And I love that little shell in her that's holding her skirt on her. It's delicious. So good.
Yeah. That was bringing in this motif.
Yeah. So Michelle says that orange topaz is gorgeous. Sarah says the stones are glowy fire. Yes. So that topaz actually does change from an orangey golden glow to peachy pink to raspberry pink. It's such a gorgeous combination, and fiery, because again, like we are fiery women. We are fiery.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, so let's see who's next. Okay, this is going to be our final one, and I saved this one at the end because when you created it, she was very much like a representation of like starting things off very strongly with us in terms of not being traditional, not being average, like just being real and authentic and genuine. So who am I speaking of? Actually, she's not the last one.
Oh boy.
We have 2 more to go.
I was gonna say, I've been trying to keep count. We have 2 more.
We do. All right, let me see. Here she is. Okay, so this is Artemis. And Artemis is the goddess of the hunt. She is the protector of young women. And she's also the protector of women during childbirth, which is interesting. She is known to be a virgin. So it's interesting that she protects women during childbirth. I think that is a really beautiful notion. And she's a protector of wild animals. So take it away, Rebecca. Tell us about your inspiration about Artemis.
All right. So definitely going into Artemis, being who I am and on social media a lot. I have seen I have a couple of pagan friends from art school who are very like into old mythology and who actually do kind of like practice sort of like having these deities as patrons. And a big thing that is apparent in those circles is people kind of conflate Artemis with being a lesbian. So I was like, I'm definitely going to give at least one of these goddesses just immense gay energy. So Artemis was the one that definitely like stuck out the most, and a little bit seeped into Athena as well. But anyway, I definitely wanted her to sort of like seem a little bit like wild and free spirited, because sort of like in the same vein as Athena of being like rebelling against sort of this old, outdated idea of Greek femininity, she's sort of like out on her own. And I didn't want it to be sort of like this fetishized feralness. I wanted her to definitely sort of like have a self-sufficiency and have a grasp on herself. So in terms of designing her, I based her aesthetic largely on Cara Delevingne with shorter hair. So she has a little bit of a butchy look to her. I definitely wanted to include like the archer's gear. So the gloves that would prevent a bowstring from snapping on her wrist. And physically, she was inspired by Olympic sprinters, because I wanted to make her look like someone who chases down prey for a living, basically. And when I was figuring out sort of like how her outfit would fall together, I definitely wanted her to have like a lot of freedom of movement, and I wanted there to be like a little bit of sharpness to her as well, given the whole goddess of the hunt thing.
I love her this was the first goddess that you showed me, and I was just like so moved by how you brought across this image of a woman who is petite but so strong and powerful and muscular, like lithe, she's just like just feminine with this edge to her, and I love her. So let me show you guys
All right.
the finished image. There she is. There is Artemis. Gorgeous, gorgeous Artemis. So people are saying, I love the second sketch down with the bow. I love the bow and arrow holding the loincloth together. Yes, anyone who's ever given birth knows that it requires a warrior's heart. That is beautiful, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So
yeah,
I just can't even, I don't even know where to start with her, from the lacing of the leather gloves that protect her from the bow when she pulls it back, to, that bow and arrow that's holding the strips of cloth together, and to the twist that you did down the center of her top. Even the jewelry, you have her moving. The jewelry is kind of like moving with her. It's just this gorgeous image, and the background is absolutely gorgeous. So
thank you.
Yeah,
she was one where I definitely needed to have her in a dynamic pose. Like, she is a goddess that moves.
Yeah. And then here's the jewelry that inspired the art, Artemis, the art of Artemis. Again, with this, I wanted to kind of create that bow and arrow without making it look super obvious. So you have the trillions, the top on the top and the bottom. In the ring, those are pink tourmalines, and then with a rhodolite garnet. And in the necklace, it's one of the mystic topazes with blue topaz trillions. And it's just this bright, edgy, lithe, slim movement that I have in the jewelry that you completely translated into Artemis, and it's just gorgeous. Sarah says she looks like a badass punk rock pixie. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's
exactly what I was going for.
Yeah, for
sure. Like, it's very, very subtle, but I also gave her pointed ears because I was just like, I'm gonna make her look like just a little bit cat-like. Just a touch.
Yeah, that feline energy of being able to just run up a tree if she needs to. I love that. I love it. Okay, so now we're coming to the end. And this is actually, so it's Persephone. And Persephone is probably my favorite. I mean, I say that about all of them. I know I say that about all of them, but she's really my favorite goddess. She has such a tremendous story of heartbreak and passion and love, and she represents so many things. So she's the goddess of fertility and the underworld. What represents her is the pomegranate. And what happened was Hades fell in love with her. He came to Earth, he fell in love with her, and he tricked her and her mother into having her come down into the underworld with him. And then she was so upset and so despondent, and the earth frosted over because she brings the spring. So she ended up working out a deal where 6 months out of the year, she comes to the earth, and then 6 months she spends in the underworld. So while she's here in the earth, on earth, she brings the spring. So let's talk about sweet, sweet Persephone.
All right. So going into my inspirations for Persephone, were basically going into this, my immediate thought was like flower goth, because we're combining both sort of the springtime aesthetic and this idea of like her being the goddess of fertility, but combining that with death. So we're looking at sort of like this funeral flower coming together of all these different contrasting ideas. So working with facial inspiration, I had 2 different Brazilian supermodels that I was working with. And then in terms of her body type, I was kind of looking at Beyonce and Jennifer Lopez sort of after they had kids, because I wanted to tie in, like, she's both sort of like has sort of like the youthful energy of somebody who like is active and moves around a lot, but also it's like maybe she's had kids. So giving her sort of like the wide set hips and very sturdy legs. Also the fact that she needed to look like a sturdy person who could get through a whole lot, given the everything about her backstory. So one thing that I came up with was tying in sort of like the roses with thorns being woven into her hair.
That's like my favorite.
I know it's, yeah. I was just saying, it's like, I know it's Greek mythology we're working with, but I went to Catholic school and it changed me in some ways. Oh,
Okay.
but anyway, but yeah, the whole like crown of thorns symbology is definitely in there with the roses that I added to her hair, sort of like symbolizing both like her suffering in a way she turned that into something beautiful, and she gained sort of a power from it and who she became through it. And in terms of her outfit, I definitely wanted to both like tie in sort of like that classic Greek femininity, but like give a bit of a twist to it. So sort of the way that everything is cut is a little bit like slanted and off kilter. So she's sort of tying in her trauma, but like making it into this beautiful aesthetic. Same deal with the roses and the thorns. So.
Oh my God, I love that. Yeah. And is that Jennifer Lopez?
Jennifer Lopez.
Right? That's J-Lo at the bottom with her dress.
Yeah, like in the lower left, that's Beyonce on the left and J-Lo on the right. And I did tie in a little bit of inspiration from both of their outfits in those, because I'm like, this is kind of like what I'm going for.
Yeah, and then the final result is just amazing. Like, her eyes speak to me. The soulfulness of her expression. You have her holding the pomegranate. Michelle says she's a badass. Absolutely. Flower god. Like it just find so much. And look at the skull, you guys. There's that skull. There's the crown of thorns that she took and, put as part of the background with the lilies to represent death and roses. It's just amazing. And so it's interesting. Here's the jewelry that I made. And it's hard to see, but if you look closely on the pendant, you can see little tiny skulls on either side where the 2 stones meet. And then on the rings, I also included little skulls. You can't see them from the top, but when you turn the ring to the side, you can see the skulls. And I made fire all around the bezel of the amethyst. So it's just these little details that you also captured in your image. And look at Persephone wearing her jewelry. The flowers in her hair are just beautiful. It's just that dichotomy of pain, and you can find beauty from pain. It's just it's really, really gorgeous. So, all right. Oh man, this was really fun. So
I'm just thinking that's the pieces that I'm wearing right now.
Yes. So in case anybody wants to look her up, I am going to put your website. Is that okay if I put your website?
That's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Rebecca has this awesome website.
Thank you.
Let's see if that went through. Hopefully that went through. Wow, I've looked at them so many times and never noticed. Yeah, Casey, I agree. Like that, my jewelry is something that you look at over and over again and you'll get something new from it. And that's exactly what Rebecca did in her images as well. Okay, the lines of the artwork flow so seamlessly into the jewelry. This is an amazing collaboration. The stories behind both of your creations make this so special. Oh, Kristen, I love that. Thank you.
I'm just looking at the chat. The link you put in was for my ArtStation account, which is like, it's also a portfolio, but I also have an official website.
Oh, well, tell me what it is and I will type it into the chat.
Let me just,
someone asked to see the ring and the necklace again.
Just RebeccaBeatriceArt.com.
RebeccaBeatriceArt.com.
Yeah, I just opened it up in another tab, and I have that one through Squarespace, and some of the cover images for the things in my illustration portfolio don't load, but they're there. I promise they are. So, yeah.
No, this has been really fun for me. Do you have an Instagram? Yes.
Yes, I do. I do have an Instagram.
Tell them your Instagram.
So my Instagram name is Beatrician. So that's BEA_TRICIAN.
Is it underscore or dot?
Wait, hang on. I need to check. I'm pretty sure it's an underscore.
I follow you, and
yeah, we should know. I made this account. I should know. Yeah, it's an underscore.
It is underscore. Okay. So I'm putting that in the chat as well. Please follow Rebecca's work. It's really powerful stuff, really cool, really fun, thoughtful. Actually, I wouldn't say fun.
Sometimes
it's dark with a sense of humor, because you definitely have a great sense of humor. Yeah. So Barbara Stevens says, you really brought Persephone to life for me, and she will be my next. I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if anybody, let's see this. I'm trying all the tricks. You can go to Metalicious.com to purchase any of the jewelry we've been talking about, and just search Goddess, and you'll be able to see all of them. And you'll see the blog posts that Katie wrote. You'll see the illustrations that Rebecca did. You'll see everything, all of the pieces that we worked so hard to bring to you. The whole team, the Metalicious team worked really hard to really make sure the details came out, made everything seamless. And we love making jewelry for you guys. So Rebecca, is there anything else you want to mention? We did your website and your Instagram while we have you.
That's pretty much it. I also have a Twitter if anyone's on Twitter, which is just at Beatrice Art, which is all one word. Beatrice is capitalized, art is capitalized. So it's just at Beatrice Art.
Okay. Oh, and Katie, thank you, Katie. She put in your Instagram account directly.
Thank you so much, Katie.
Yeah.
Thank you for boosting me.
Skulls. Patricia Dove says, love the little skulls on Persephone. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
It was so funny because I was debating, I think, Rebecca, you know this, I was debating whether or not to put skulls into my work, but it just fit, and it's her story, and it's a part of all of us. Like, there's always stuff, hard things that we've all been through, that we've powered through, that we've dug deep, and women are strong and courageous, powerful and beautiful. And you really reflected that in your work, Rebecca. So thank you so much. I really appreciated it.
And also thinking of just like the way you grafted them in. I love little hidden Easter eggs in design. I love when it's like slipped into the background.
That is, that's a funny way to say it, but that's exactly what it is. So an Easter egg in film is like a little hidden thing that you don't know. Like when Alfred Hitchcock would have although that's not really an Easter egg.
No, I'm just thinking sort of like in the DreamWorks films where they have like little artifacts from other films.
Right, like they'll have a Toy Story dinosaur in...
The Planet truck is in every single movie.
Which one?
The Pizza Planet truck from Toy Story.
Oh, that's so funny. So that's an Easter egg, like a little hidden detail that you watch it over and over again, and then you see it. So it's the same thing with the jewelry and these illustrations. Like she started with the goddesses themselves, but then she put all of this detail and love and thought into the background. So Katie says hidden Mickeys, but jewelry.
Hidden Mickeys, but jewelry.
Yes, yes. Lori Wright says, yes, I love the Easter egg concept.
Yes, it's fun. It makes it intellectually engaging. It gives people something to look for.
It does, and it's just like something special that you know is there, and it's a delight when somebody else finds it and someone else sees it and recognizes it. So that's what I loved about your work. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. We'll have to do this again. We'll have to figure out another jewelry collection to collaborate on. So
give me another challenge. I'm down for it. Come on.
Me too. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you again. If you have any questions, you can always pop them in the comments and I will respond to them. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.